All right, ready to dive into some isekai.
Always ready for some anime adventures.
Today we're tackling those crazy ways isekai protagonists gain skills, like level up.
Yeah, those power fantasies, right?
Yeah.
Always fun to think about.
Yeah, exactly. Like, have you ever, just wished you could suddenly get awesome abilities in real life?
Maybe learn some magic or something. Definitely.
Right. So to guide this deep dive, we've got some excerpts from Game Rant.
Game Rant, always a good source.
Yeah, their article is 8 Best Isekai Anime with Protagonists Who Constantly Get New Skills. And, well, they've found some pretty wild ways these characters become, well, OP.
That's so powered.
Yeah.
But I think what's interesting is that it's often not instant. Like, we get to see them grow.
Oh, for sure. Like
Yeah.
in So I'm a Spider, So What? Or Komodo, right? Reincarnated as a spider, stuck in a dungeon. Talk about rough beginnings.
Yeah, but the way she gains skills is so cool. Every monster she takes down, it's like, boom, points. And she uses those points to buy new abilities.
Whoa, so it's like an actual leveling system, like a video game.
Pretty much. But here's the thing. Kumoko doesn't just rely on that. She's also, like, constantly training, pushing herself beyond those set skills.
So she's not just handed everything. Got to
Yeah.
respect the hustle.
Right. That makes her so much more adaptable. It's like she becomes this unique force. You never know what she'll come up with next.
Love that. Makes you root for her even more. Okay, so we've got the hardworking spider, but then there's the opposite almost.
You thinking about Masato from, didn't I say to make my abilities average in the next life?
Yeah. Like average. In a world with magic and crazy creatures, how's that even work?
Well, that's the fun part. She wishes for average, but the gods base it on all real beings, including dragons and whatnot.
Oh, sneaky gods. So average for her is still super powered compared to us regular humans.
Exactly. It's like a subversion of expectations.
Yeah.
But here's what I find fascinating. Even with that boost, she still trains.
No way. Even with that head start, what's the point?
Well, it's about pushing her limits, right? Discovering what she's truly capable of. Throughout the series, she picks up new skills, learns to control her powers. It's like she keeps exceeding even her own expectations.
Huh. It's kind of a paradox. Wanting to be average but ending up amazing makes you think,
For sure. It's a good example of how these worlds play with potential, what it really means to be powerful.
Okay, so we've got hard work and accidental OP-ness.
Yeah.
What other ways are there to, gain skills in these worlds?
Well, let's talk about Toya Mokuzuki in Another World with My Smartphone. He dies, gets reincarnated, and guess what?
He gets a super-powered smartphone. That's got to be useful.
You got it. But there's more. He also gets some divine blessings. One of them is null magic.
Null magic. What's that like, the ability to nullify other magic?
Kinda, but it's way cooler. He can basically use any Wii type of magic, as long as he knows the right words. Imagine breaking the rules of magic just by speaking.
Whoa, that's OP. So is he, unstoppable then?
Yeah.
He can do anything.
That's where it gets interesting. Having that much potential raises questions about control, responsibility. What do you do with that kind of power? It's something the series explores.
Okay, now I'm intrigued. So we got the hardworking spider, the accidentally OP girl, and now the smartphone magic master. Where do we go from here?
Let's take a darker turn, shall we? A different way to gain skills, not for the faint of heart.
Oh, yeah, darker. Lay it on me.
All right, Arifureta. From commonplace to world's strongest. Arjime Nagumo, the protagonist, gets betrayed, left for dead in a dungeon. But he makes a shocking discovery. He can consume monsters.
He can what? Eat them. Isn't that kind of, gross?
Yeah, not your typical power-up, but it reflects his situation, right? Brutal, desperate. To survive, he does what he has to.
That's intense. But okay, magic world, I guess anything's possible. So what happens? What kind of powers does he get?
We're not talking about a small boost here. Imagine going from, average human stats to tens of thousands, surpassing even legendary heroes.
Tens of thousands. That's insane. But it can't just be raw power, right?
You're right. He also gets unique abilities based on the monsters. Lightning manipulation, speed boosts. But it changes him, takes a toll.
Well, there's got to be a price, right? What's the downside?
Well, physically and mentally, it's tough. It forces him to confront his own humanity. The darkness he's capable of makes the story pretty complex.
Wow, so it's not just about getting strong. It's about the choices you make along the way. This is deep.
For sure. It's a great example of how isekai can explore those moral dilemmas, what comes with incredible power.
I'm hooked. Okay, so we've got monster munching.
Yeah.
But is there, a more creative way? Less Visceral, I guess. Man, it's crazy how different these power-ups are, right? Like, each one kind of reflects the character's journey.
Yeah, totally. It's like their skills are tied to who they become, you know?
For sure. Like Komoko, the spider girl. She starts from nothing, and it's through pure grit that she survives, levels up, all that.
Right. It's like watching evolution in action. Makes her resourceful, adaptable, and, well, honestly, way more relatable than some OP characters.
Absolutely. And then there's Misato, trying to be average, but ending up extraordinary anyway.
Yeah.
It's almost like fate has other plans, right?
Yeah, that whole free will versus destiny thing, lots of isekai play with that.
Definitely makes you think. Okay, but what about Tuya, the smartphone guy? Seems like he's got it pretty easy with those divine blessings.
Well, he does get a head start, that's for sure. But his story's more about responsibility, I think.
Yeah,
Especially with that null magic.
true, true. Having that much power, you got to be careful with it.
Exactly. The series really explores that. Like, what do you do with the ability to break all the rules? It's not just about being strong. It's about choices, consequences.
Adds a whole other layer to his character for sure. Now, Hajime from Ari Ferreira, he's on the opposite end of the spectrum, right? Gaining power through, well, kind of horrifying means.
It's definitely a darker path, yeah.
Yeah.
Driven by necessity, but it changes him, fundamentally.
Like he's losing something to gain strength, right? A tough trade-off.
You got it. Ari Ferreira really digs into that moral grayness, the cost of power. It's not your typical happy-go-lucky isekai.
Definitely appeals to a different audience. I can see that. Okay, so we've got evolution, divine gifts, and the dark side of power-ups. What other unique approaches are out there?
Well, let's shift gears a bit. Think about Iwatani Nafumi from The Rising of the Shield Hero. Talk about limitations, breeding creativity.
The shield guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, not the most glamorous weapon at first glance.
Right. Everyone underestimates him at the start, but the way he uses that shield, genius.
Didn't he, like, feed monster bits to it or something? That was pretty wild.
You remember correctly. By absorbing monster materials, his shield evolves, gains all sorts of crazy powers, shape-shifting, attacks, even healing.
From a shield. That's thinking outside the box, for sure. Makes you wonder what hidden potential we all got, huh?
I love that. Now, Fumi's journey shows that true power isn't always about brute force. It's about understanding your tools, adapting, making the most of what you got.
Couldn't agree more. Okay, so we've got a spider, an accidentally OP girl, a smartphone magic user, a monster eater, and now a shield hero who's anything BUT limited. What else you got?
All right, let's talk about caution. Extreme caution. Seryugwin from Cautious Hero. The hero is overpowered, but overly cautious takes preparation to a whole new level.
Overly cautious. Isn't that kind of counterproductive when you're, well, a hero? Shouldn't you be, rushing into danger?
You'd think so, but that's what makes him unique. Seiya is ridiculously powerful, but he's obsessed with training.
Wait, so he's like practicing to fight a level 1 slime even though he could probably destroy a dragon in his sleep.
Basically, he'll spend weeks, months even, perfecting a skill before even thinking about facing an enemy. He even learns from gods themselves, pushing his abilities way past normal limits.
That's some serious dedication. But wouldn't that get kind of boring? All that training, no action.
But that's where the humor comes in. The series plays with that contrast, his OP-ness and his cautious personality. It's almost like a parody of those super serious power fantasies.
Oh, I can see that. Gotta have a sense of humor, right?
Right. Keeps things fresh, reminds us that personality and how you approach problems can be just as entertaining as the big battles.
Love it. Okay, so we got cautious heroes. But what about those who are already at the top? Like, are there any examples of characters who are already OP but still gotta figure out new skills in a new world?
Let's talk about Aints Ulgaon from Overlord. This guy is a max-level player from a video game, gets transported to a new world, basically a walking cheat code.
Okay, so if he's already super powerful, what's the challenge? Is it like a fish out of water thing?
Kind of, yeah. New world, new rules, all that. But the real hurdle is the magic system. It's totally different from what he's used to.
So even being OP doesn't mean you know everything, huh?
Yeah.
Still gotta learn new tricks.
You got it. Ain't spends a ton of time analyzing how magic works in this world, experimenting, pushing his understanding further.
That's pretty cool. Always striving to learn, even when you're at the top. Inspiring, in a way?
It is. Shows that mastery is an ongoing process, right? Always something new to discover, a new challenge to conquer.
All right, so we've covered a spider, a girl aiming for average, a smartphone guy, a monster eater, a shield hero, A&D, a cautious, overpowered gamer. That's quite the range.
Yeah.
Is there, like, One final example that really blows the lid off, the isekai skill acquisition.
It's funny, right? Like all these characters, they're kind of getting a second chance at life. New world, new skills, new them.
Oh, totally. Isekai is all about second chances, reinvention. It's not JCF about the powers. It's about becoming someone else, someone maybe better than they were before.
Yeah, yeah. Like think about Kumoko, the spider. She's just a regular student before, but now she's fighting, adapting, becoming this total badass. It's like that crazy change unlocks something in her.
Exactly. And it's not always just physical strength or magic either. A lot of these characters grow emotionally too,
Yeah.
learn about responsibility, leadership, stuff like that. Oh, for sure. Like Naofumi, the shield hero, he went through so much crap at the start, but it made him into this, like, compassionate leader fighting for the right reasons.
Totally. His journey is about overcoming those hardships, becoming more than just a guy with a shield. Learning to trust again, to use his power to protect others. It's a classic hero story, but with that isekai twist.
It makes you think about what WE can learn from these stories, right? Even if we don't get isekai ourselves.
Absolutely. Like, what if the real skill we gain is that inspiration? To push ourselves, to believe in our own potential, even when things get tough.
Yeah. Because even if we don't get superpowers, we can still strive to be the heroes of our own stories, right? Find our purpose, make a difference.
That's what it's all about. And hey, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into isekai skill acquisition.
Always a blast exploring these crazy anime worlds with you. Until next time.